Okay, I need to cook, so I need to cook. Thank you. Hi, so I'm gonna make a salad and I wanted you to join me while I share some things, some unspeakable things that I thought about motherhood before I obviously became a mother. One of the first things to when I was in my early 20s that I thought about motherhood is absolute living hell. I had a good childhood, but I don't have a good relationship with my parent growing up or had. So to me, like I feel like they hated it, which I think that's what made me hate the thought of being a mother. And I really never felt like I would actually be a good mom, or I knew everything I didn't want to do, or I thought I didn't want to do. So motherhood was one of them, and I didn't think that I would be a good mom to children. But I did love children, so I did study to be a educator of children. I didn't finish that degree because I got kicked out, but that's a story for another time. Most of my 20s, I thought I didn't have kids because I didn't think I was good enough, and also I thought, like, why would you do that? Like, you kind of just don't live your life, you stop living and everything like that. And I truly believe that, which it's a bit sad, but that was my truth, and that's fine. Fast forward a few years, I had my first child when I was 27. So, obviously, it was not all of my 20s that I thought that, but it was most of them. I clearly changed my mind, which is like, I think that's what's the best thing about it, is I obviously changed my mind and things changed. Another thing I thought before motherhood was, as I was studying to be a teacher, I understood like a lot of the children's psychology, and I understood how children's brains work. And I know that, but it was like a more primitive sort of way, so I didn't really consider what it really means from a parent perspective or even kid's perspective. It was just like, this is how they learn, this is how you should teach them, this is how you should put boundaries, and this is how you should do things. So I was quite vocal about that. I'm not a person that would tell people how to live their life, but I would judge people. I would judge parents all the time and be like, oh, the child is crying. Oh yeah, it's because the parent's not doing this, and this. And obviously, I became a parent and realized that. Well, I basically just ate it up. Really, I ate everything that I've ever said about motherhood. I also had a few. I knew a few people that had children when they were early 20s, and they had their kids and chose to have their kids. But in my head, I couldn't grasp that because obviously, like, who wants kids in their 20s, right? So I kind of in my head just made myself believe that it were accidents, and so they just told themselves that they wanted to have kids because it happened. Again, not true, not real. Obviously they did want those children, and they did have multiple children, and they loved their families, and that was their truth. In reality, it was just someone was living a different life from my own, so I was judging them because of that, because I couldn't understand it. And I think that's something that we all do. We all judge people for doing things differently because it's a different reality than what we do. And that's a very sad thing to do, because we should really be celebrating our differences. And instead of judging, we should ask questions. We should try and understand other people's perspectives. But hey, that was another thing I did. And then I had a child at 27, so I was the first of my friends to have a kid. So, like, I contradicted myself in all of these thoughts. But then I will say this, like, I think in your 20s, it's like you get to your 18s and you're like, oh, I'm an adult and I can make decisions. I can leave my parents' house. I go to university. I make my own choices. So you also have your own beliefs, and that's totally fine. But I think also we need to kind of step out and like, being at your new 20s, you're just starting your adulthood, and it's only normal for you to have like these beliefs because you're just learning about life and you're starting to realize. But that's something that we never learn. You were told you're an adult now, you make your own choices, but nobody ever like considers the fact that you're just a learning adult. I think your 20s are very valid for learning, and if you want to learn to be a mother in your 20s, that's also valid. But also, if you want to learn how to live and how to form your own ideals, that's also valid. Also need to understand that you can change your mind about things, like things change. And that's what happened to me. And I think at first it was really hard to understand why I was changing my mind and why things were becoming different than what it was before, I now can look back and realize that, I was just learning. I was just doing my own thing and experimenting and trying to understand life, because it's very complex life and there's so many ways to live life as well. Like there's not one real way to do life. So it's all good. And then fast forward to when I had my child, and I still had beliefs that were not real. Like the first few years were hard, like super hard. First couple of years, I have a very active toddler that refused to listen. The best years were when he turned 2, which again was something that people told me it was the worst years, but for us it was the best years. So I kind of really enjoyed that, because he's finally understanding what we mean, we say, and we, responding to our requests and requests of please stop jumping, or please stop not jumping, jumping on the sofa, but please be respectful of others. And this is when we start communicating with him more. So it was the best years, the 2, and now 4 is been becoming a little bit more challenging. But again, it's just nothing compared to what it was in the first few years. And those first few years, like if you would have asked me if I wanted a second child, I would be like, I just had one. Why would I want a second child? I lost my body. I lost my independence. I was grieving my old self. And that's something that when you become a mother, you're not allowed to feel, because you chose to be a mother. So you chose to be in this life. So if you say that you are having a difficult time with it, I think that's why a lot of people go into postpartum depressions, because there is no room to allow these feelings to be a reality when they truly are a reality. So yeah, I lost a lot of myself in these years of motherhood. And so I did not even consider having a child before, a second child, because I hated pregnancy firstly, so I'm not really looking forward to that again. And I lost my body, and it was really hard for me to go back to my previous self and accepting. And the grief process of my old life was quite intense, or really hard to accept, because I felt like everybody else was so happy in their new lives, and why was I not, So it was just that imbalance. And I found the right people that actually, validated my feelings, which was really nice, and something I truly recommend to anyone that is going through any postpartum depression or is going through a hard time with motherhood. Just find someone, even if online, that validates your feelings, because it's really needed. And don't compare yourself to other people that are thriving, because we are all built differently. We all have our own traumas. We all have, maybe you have a village, maybe you don't have a village. There's always these different factors that come into play that we don't think about it when we're deep postpartum, right? And we just think we all have been given the same things, but we're not. We're all different. We all have different lives. So from that moment on, everything will be different. So don't compare yourself to other people online. But now, fast forward to 4 years, we are now considering a second child, and not considering, we are actually trying for a second child. And then again, I changed my mind, because from when a couple of years ago, I would not even consider having a second child. And right now, that's all I want. And again, when we tried for the first time to have a child, it was super easy, and we tried one time, first month we got pregnant. Again, we had time, we had different lifestyles, everything was different, and I think that's why it happened, and we were lucky. So one thing that they don't tell you is that for you to be successfully pregnant, it can take up to a year, and that most people actually takes up to a year to get pregnant. And that's something that they are not told. We don't know, we just don't, it's misinformation again. I know it's tuna, but it's not for you. Okay, now I need to wash my hands. No, you've already had food. Stop being greedy. And that's another period of your life that you go by yourself, because you have people that just keep it's what it feels like more than what it actually is. You feel like people are all announcing their pregnancies, and you're just there like, oh, cool. What about me? So it's all a little bit like, but it's okay. It's just a phase of our lives, and I think we will be successful eventually, and that's not what worries me at all at this point. Anyway, but all of this to say that we changed. Growing up is changing your mind. Growing up is learning things. It's being in your 20s and not wanting kids and having different opinions than other people is only normal. Like, it's only normal. Living your life differently, absolutely normal. Having different beliefs, absolutely normal. What is not normal is for us to sit there and judge. And that's one thing I regret about myself. I know now that I've learned, and I'm absolutely fine with it, and I've, stepped away from it. But before, I was so judgmental, like other people living their life differently. And again, it's because I come from a place that was super closed minded. And I went from like a really small island that there's nobody from nowhere else. We all live in the same island, to go to London, which was one of the places that has people from so many backgrounds, so many different places, so many cultures that just do life differently. And to me, that was shocking. And I had a lot to learn. And I would stick to my truths, and I just didn't want to understand other people's truths, I guess, or just didn't want to hear them, or so my first thought was always to judge. So if you're here today, I want to remind you that it's okay that people's lives are different. It's okay that people want different things. It's okay that people say things that are not entirely true because you've already lived them, for instance. It's okay that their truth is different than yours because they are living a different life. They're not living your life, right? So it's only normal for them to have a different perspective on it than what you have. And that's the beauty of it. That's the absolute beauty of life, is accepting that we are all different, that we all live these different lives, and that we are all in it together. And the one thing we can do is learn from each other and accept that we all have different cultures, and we all have different belief systems, and we all have different opinions, and that's okay. Instead of like hitting people with judgment, we should ask questions. We should try and understand their perspective instead of 2 bullets to the head, because that's louder than I expected, because that's only it's only normal for you to feel like, I feel like we all feel attacked by someone saying that they live their life differently, when we should really feel curious to understand their perspective, understand their point of view, instead of feeling personally attacked because we live life differently. It's taken me a long time to get here, as you can see, taken me a few years to learn this. I don't know if it's because I'm a mother now, so I feel a bit more open to other suggestions and things. I think we live in a beautiful world, and I think we're all connected, and we are all here meant to learn from each other and accept each other. Being different doesn't mean it's bad. It means it's different, and that's beautiful, and we should accept it. Well, that's it. I finished my salad, and I finished everything I had to say. Thank you for joining me. If you have any opinions, any comments you want to share with us, not us, just me. If you want to share with me, just comment below. If you have any topics that you'd like me to talk about, I'm always open to do that. Let's chat. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye. I don't know why.